Good evening, my friends. How are you doing? How is your day going? Or evening? Or morning? Or, how are you doing in general? Are you okay? Do you want to talk about Fogans? Not the useless ones, the useful Fogans, the Elvia ones. Spot number 3 out of 7 that I want to go visit and cover. I spent 10 hours grinding the Swamp Fogans, and in my opinion I pretty much discovered everything the spot has, so the mystery is gone, time to share the information and then move on. So yeah, take a seat, put me in the background and let's start the discussion. Before that, actually, let me see if I can wake up some of the lurkers. Hey, do you wanna be part of the community? Do you wanna do some quid pro quo? Help me out, I help you out. If at some point you enjoy the video or you find it useful, why not leave a like or a comment, share your thoughts, engagement, very much appreciated. Looking forward to see if this makes any change whatsoever. So yeah, let's begin. Did I say it already? I spent 10 hours on this spot in total, that many hours. It was 7 hours on my Nova Awakening, the main class, as you may know, and 3 hours on Guardian. I ended up tagging my old Guardian because I was missing. I felt like playing it again, it's more chill to grind with. Let's just leave it at that. So 7 hours and 3 hours. In terms of gear, this is pretty much what I have on my main Nova, about 285 AP with a Kutum and a Black Star, again playing Awakening. My crystal setup, as some people are saying it's not optimal, is just grinding crystals. I don't PvP. As long as I get 100% knockdown resistance and enough accuracy to get the job done, I really don't care any further than that. And obviously my Guardian has the exact same gear, so that's what I used. In terms of pets, full tier 4 pets, I don't know if that matters whatsoever because the monsters are not one-shottable, so maybe even full tier 3 pets will give you the exact same trash per hour results, but still worth keeping in mind. And finally, for the loot, the drop items, I just used a blue loot scroll like always and the currently ongoing 50% drop rate event, which is pretty much the same as the Arsha server buff. So I believe that's pretty much all the information. More like all of the requirements. So let's talk about the actual spot. In my opinion, Fogans is at this point pretty much the same as the other Elvia servers. It is a bit original, but after visiting 2 other places, Bloody Monastery and Biraghi Den, it's pretty much the exact same case, but slightly different. So you pick a rotation, you do the same basic circle rotation, and other than that, in terms of special things, there are the mob spawn event and the boss event. Basically that. Obviously there's the Elvia Weapons. If you see an Elvia Weapon spawn, pick it up, like always. This is at this point common knowledge. With an Elvia Weapon, you will kill the monsters much faster and grind much faster. In most, I guess for most people, it's gonna be able to one-shot packs with an Elvia Weapon, so pick those up. Other than that, you get the monster spawn event. So to talk about that one, I don't understand the point of it. I tried to think about it a little bit and it kind of makes no sense as to why it exists. Basically, when you grind at random, I don't think it has any specific trigger, it's literally just random. You will see this message on the screen, some Naga forces invading, and basically all it does is it spawns roughly 2 packs worth of monsters, but they are Naga monsters. It takes them a while to move from their spawn location in the middle to actually form a pack, so it's delayed. The way I look at it is, it happens randomly. It could happen like 5 times per hour, 20 times per hour. It's literally random. And since it takes them so long to move, normally I just look at the message, kill the current pack, move to the next pack, kill that pack as well, and then move backwards to kill the spawned Nagas. They have the same HP as the normal Fogan monsters, so there's no difference in that whatsoever. And to make matters worse, since they are Nagas, they drop a different type of trash, the Nagas trash, I assume, and of course the loot table with the Elvia specific items from the Naga spot. So you might see Narc's Lightning or, basically the other items. So I don't understand the point of this event. It doesn't feel like it makes me grind any faster because the monsters die just as slow, and you just end up with a different type of trash and different types of items. Maybe I just missed the point entirely. It's really forgettable. If you see it, do it. You can even ignore them probably, but keep in mind that's kind of the special event for this place. And then you have the boss spawn, which I would say is the most important part of this entire area. The boss, just like the Naga monsters, seems to be random. I don't know what triggers the boss spawn, but it's usually, let's say, between 1 and 3 or 4 bosses per hour. They seem to be pretty frequent, and they literally spawn exactly in the spot where you were when it was triggered. So it doesn't have a specific spawn location, it's quite literally random. I tried only once to poke this boss when I saw it on a different person grinding very close to me, and I ended up getting loot from his boss, but I feel like I kind of stole his boss. Basically I out-damaged him and I was the only one who got loot, maybe, because throughout my 10 hours I spawned maybe 20 of these bosses and nobody ever came to attack my boss. I don't know for sure if it drops items for more than one person. I would assume it doesn't and it's just a solo boss, and it's kind of important because there doesn't seem to be anything specific that has a higher drop rate from it, but once you kill it, it's kind of a 50-50 chance it might immediately spawn an Elvia weapon when it dies. So basically when you see the boss spawn, kill it if you can, because you might for the next 10 minutes just grind a lot faster. The boss has really good damage. Essentially, if you don't have an Elvia weapon, be careful, he can actually kill you. I did die a couple of times to the boss and nothing else, like literally from this spot, nothing else with my current gear obviously feels like it's powerful enough to kill me. It's just the boss has that damage. He goes in kind of a frenzy-ish mode after he loses maybe 50% of his HP, so that's when you have to look out for it, especially if you grind on nighttime. Obviously, if you have an Elvia weapon, it doesn't really matter because the boss at that point just feels like a slightly tankier monster. He goes down really fast, but that's pretty much the full extent of it. He spawns randomly, he might drop an Elvia weapon when he dies, you know, the spawn for it, and I don't know if he has a higher drop rate for the rare item from this place. Maybe he does, I don't remember getting it specifically from the boss. So other than that, yeah, let me show you the rotations and then we can look at the numbers and the charts. For rotations, the Swamp Fogans area seems to be very big. I'm sure that you can make like a lot of rotations, maybe 5, 6, who knows. I personally grinded only 2 of them. If you open the map, you will see 3 big pools of water on the map, 2 of them close to Glitch, and 1 of them closer to Hydeal. I forgot the actual node name, but you can use those as references to rotations. The 2 pools of water close to Glitch are the ones where I personally grinded. You have the left one and the right one. The left one is the one that's kind of bigger. That rotation is the one I mainly used, not because of anything in particular, just because it's close to Glitch and that's where I got used to grinding. I would say this is probably the more contested one, I guess. I did encounter a bunch of people here. Throughout my 10 hours so far, Fogans is the most contested Elvia spot I visited, but I don't think that's because of the money per hour or anything else. It's probably just because it's Fogans and people assume Fogans is the entry level and they might try out this place rather than the others, who knows. Or just bad luck on my end. The right side, that rotation, you know, they are divided by a bridge. It's again just a big circle around the water area. I'm pretty sure I'm not even doing an official rotation. I'm just literally grinding whatever I find empty. That's basically the full extent of it. Someone told me about the rotation close to Hydeal, the 3rd pool of water. That one seems to have, let's say, better mob density. The packs seemed to be a bit closer together. I tried to grind that one only once for 1 hour and it was taken. I swapped servers, it was taken again, so I gave up, and basically I never fully tested the third rotation, but if you find it empty, that one is probably the better choice. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter specifically where you grind. So yeah, it's Excel time. Let's start with money per hour, because we always take them in that order. So this is the loot table. At this point everyone should be able to read this perfectly. I really don't need to explain anything unless you are literally new to my channel. But out of my 10 hours, this is all of the stuff that I got, all of the items. You might be able to notice that compared to the other 2 spots I went to, this one drops more black magic crystals in general. It's a lot more of them. There are 2 types. There's a sturdiness and the assault one. Basically none of these is worthy, they're low priced, roughly 2 million on EU. And other than that, I got 4 rare materials, rare items. These are used, it's this one, Tears of the Arid River. These are used to make the blue necklaces. The necklace, the revived necklace of something river, you will see it on the screen, those, the DP necklace. I got 4 of them in 10 hours, so I would say it's probably best to expect maybe 1 drop in 2 to 3 hours on average. It's just sad that the DP necklace is very cheap, so it doesn't really feel that rewarding when you see one of those drop. The other Elvia materials from this place are kind of underwhelming as well. You get the blue shard of Tearful Night, which is, I believe, used to make the HP enhancement on the ring. I was hoping I would get the red one, the Furious one. That's kind of what I personally need. And also I got 3 of the yellow ones, because again, the Naga monster event spawn. In general, if you want to go for the HP enhancement on the rings, I suppose you can grind this place, but I personally don't need that. I want to go for the crit damage, so keep that in mind. These are the Elvia materials from this place. Other than that, I got roughly 60,000 trash in total. This is the breakdown per hour. Let's say it was somewhere between 5.5 and 6 point something thousand trash per hour. My average came down to 5.7 thousand. The hour 4 is the one where I tested Agris points, so it does say 11,000 here, but it's divided by 2 here, that's why it's only 57,000 and not 62. Hour 5 is when I tested experience, so for the experience, speed, it was about 6,000 trash per hour. On average, I would say weapon drops, I had maybe 1 or 2 per hour. This is again the breakdown. Usually I did have a couple, you can see it right here. I did have a couple of lucky sessions with 2 or 3 weapons, but in general, I had, let's say this one dropped in my last 5 minutes. So I counted it as half of a weapon drop because I only used it for 5 minutes. Same here for 5 minutes. Weapon drops, bosses. This is, to the best of my ability, I tried to keep track of all of the bosses that spawned and that I killed. So in most hours I had at least 1 boss spawn. And yeah, for the money per hour, these in darker green are taxed with a marketplace return, assuming that you sell them to the marketplace with a value pack, and the ones in lighter green are not taxed. We have 2 outcomes again just like always. We have the save Black Star material items if you need these to enhance your Black Star armor, and second option where you sell the Black Star materials. The ring enhancement materials I never count, because if you don't need those, then what's the point of grinding these areas? If you need and save the Black Star materials, then you're looking at on average about 150 million silver per hour, and if you don't need those and you sell these as well, it's basically these plus these, then it's about 200 million silver per hour. So basically Fogans, in terms of money, it's an improvement over Biraghi then, but it's a downgrade when you compare it to Bloody Monastery. Kind of makes sense because the AP required is in between those 2. Moving on, we have experience and skill points. The chart got so big that at this point it doesn't even fit on my screen. the entire thing. There are 2 spots below. But anyway, Fogans, it's this one, Elvia Fogans. I only had 1 experience run, but I stopped it twice. You know, after 35 minutes when the first bell expired, I stopped and looked at the numbers, or just screenshotted the numbers, and then after 50 minutes, right before nighttime was about to start, that was the second stop. And I did drop an Elvia weapon on the second half after the 35 minutes. So basically that's why there are 2 entries here. You have Fogans with no weapon drops and Fogans with 1 weapon drop. Basically that. The experience itself is it's meh. I mean, it's really good if you compare it to the non-Elvia areas. It's basically somewhere around Thornwood level or Schultzgard, but if you compare it to the other spots, Biraghi then can definitely be more experience, so go there if you want purely experience, and Bloody Monastery is even better, so if you can grind that, then go to Bloody Monastery. Essentially, to get these numbers with no weapons, you're looking at about 5,500 trash per hour with a blue loot scroll, and the 1 weapon drop was 6,100 trash per hour with a blue loot scroll. If you get these numbers, then this is the experience you should expect. For skill points, it's pretty much the exact same story as the other Elvia spots. It's decent skill points, basically it's not 0, but it's not anything impressive. Like, it's not Polyforest level, it's not Sulfur Mines or Blood Wolves, where at least it's decent enough to grind those specifically for skill points, but you know, it exists. You get something, but don't look forward to getting a bunch of skill points here either. And the last stop for today is Agris points. Agris Efficiency. Should you spend your Agris points on Fogans? My answer is no. So far I only went to Biraghi Den, Fogans, and Monastery, somewhere here, Bloody Monastery. And out of these 3, Fogans seem to be the most inefficient. I have a slow run. I only tested Agris points in 1 hour. It was for 56.5 minutes, because after that I ran out of points, and it was by far the worst hour I ever had at Fogans. My luck just simply wasn't on my side for that particular hour. I did die a couple of times to the bosses that spawned, and a couple of people tried to grind on top of my rotation, or I swapped servers and the next server was also taken, so it was, in my opinion, a rather slow-ish hour. I ended up with about 11.7 thousand trash per hour, so close to 12,000. I don't think if you divide this by 2, it should be estimated around 6,000 trash per hour. I think this is more of a 5.5 thousand trash per hour loot scroll hour maybe, and in that case you're using roughly 93,000 points per hour. I did estimate what if I could get 13,000 trash per hour with Agris, and in that case I'm using 103,000 points, so it's burning a lot of points. And in terms of efficiency, which is this chart, the more important one, basically from here I'm looking at using the least amount of points to make the most amount of silver. The spot ideally should be as high up as possible with as low of this number as possible, and it's not really there yet. This is Bloody Monastery, which I said it's pretty good. This is what I would recommend currently for burning Agris points if you can. This is Fogans, 46,000 here. So it's roughly it's roughly the same efficiency as Sikraya. So if you are fine with burning Agris points at Sikraya, you will burn them faster at Fogans, but it's the same efficiency in terms of points per money made, silver made. So hey, I guess it's not that bad. I just changed my opinion, but if you have the AP, go to Bloody Monastery. I believe that one is better. Biraghi then is worse. So it's kind of, yeah, it doesn't matter. Biraghi then and Fogans are kind of the same efficiency as Sikraya. So if you're fine with that, use Agris points here. If not, just go to Bloody Monastery or save them for something else. And that pretty much wraps up everything. That's it. Thanks for watching. hope you enjoyed this. Now I'm gonna go back to killing my Nova over and over, because the current 1000% event is a nightmare for someone like me. You know, the things I do for consistency, the things I do for you, because I need to be level 61 before to test all of the Elvia spots, and I have 4 of them left, and this event just gives me so much experience. I purposely have to go and die like every day because I'm getting too much experience. It's a nightmare. Anyway, that's just a struggle of mine. Thank you for watching again. I will see you next time with a different Elvia spot. I don't know which one yet, but probably Nagas. Just probably Nagas. Or the duo spot. So until then, stay happy, enjoy your time, have a good rest of your evening, and bye bye.